to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Now, if you haven't guessed, it is December, and I have decided to don my lovely Mrs. Claus sweater. So I will be wearing this for the next few videos in celebration of the upcoming Christmas holiday. Now, I have an adorable little project for you today, but the fun thing about this one is if you are all done your Christmas cards already, you can just change up the sentiment. You could add a birthday or a thinking of you, and this is still a really adorable card. So these cards are very, very simple to make. You can use them with any cardstock you have on hand, but you do want to have the Reindeer Fun Stamp Set. This guy is still available at the moment, so if you head to my website, laurenurbonus.stampinup.net, just so you know, today is Tuesday, December 10th, and we do have a free shipping promotion going on. That is going on until tomorrow, the 11th, at midnight, I believe. And so any order over $100, that's before the shipping or GST costs, will ship for free to you, and our shipping is via UPS. So for those of us in Canada who haven't been receiving any other mail, you can still receive our packages. Okay, I had to switch up some Christmas gifts because they're stuck in the mail, so I had to reshop for a few things for my kids and whatnot, but that's okay. It's all good. On the note of the website as well, I do just want to mention, if you are somewhere in Edmonton and you have just an order that's under $100, it would be better to message me because I can share shipping with you, and then you're not having to pay the difference in shipping costs if your order is under $100, okay? But those are options for you. Let's get crafting. So what you're going to need, if you would like to follow along with me, is a cardstock base of your choice. And I'm deciding to go different on all of my cards. So I've done Cherry Cobbler, Granny Apple Green, and Pool Party. Now I'm going to bring in one of my favorite Christmas colors, and this is Shaded Spruce. So this cardstock base is going to be 4 1/4 by 11. And we're putting a score mark at 5 1/2 right in the middle there. So my card this time is going to open straight up and down, just like so. I'm going to move these out of the way. We'll just keep one of them. How about we'll keep this one because it doesn't blind you with the silver. And my bone folder is going to give me a nice crisp look on the front. Now, I could easily put down some designer series paper. The Reindeer Days designer series paper is absolutely adorable, and I could use that as a background, but I'm going very neutral, and I'm just pretending that I actually don't own the Reindeer Days dies at the moment, which I do. So if you want to see projects with those, look back a couple weeks. There are some. There's also a set of projects using the Reindeer Days Memories and More cards, showing you how to make a whole whack of cards in an afternoon. But we're going to do some embossing. So I have my Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder and a piece of very vanilla cardstock in here. Now that piece is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we're going to run this through using your 3D embossing plate. Now, if you've purchased this recently, it will be gray, but it's just a nice thick plate. You're never going to use this one for cutting with your dies. It only works with these really thick embossing folders. Okay, so you just need these two and the fat plate from your machine. You can run that through. We're going to pretend that I've done that already. And what should come out is a beautifully designed plaid background. Now, the fun thing about this folder is it is so massive that if I was making a bunch of these, I actually could have put my papers side by side, and I could put 2 of them through at the same time. So just keep that in mind. If you're trying to make, a whole set of cards for somebody, this might be a really good design and a good embossing folder to maximize your time and efficiency. So there's one piece. For the front, I also really like having something to write on for the inside of my cards. And so I'm going to cut myself a second piece. This is also going to be 4 by 5 1/4, but I'm not going to add it to the middle yet because I might decide I want to emboss on it as well. And then if you make a mistake, it's easier just to be able to turn this over. Oops, there's green. Turn this over and retry instead of cutting or trying to pull out the piece from your card. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside for the moment, and we are going to put these two pieces together. So I'm using a flat adhesive, so if you've got some glue, seal, tape, whatever your preference is, I'm just trying to use up some scraps of double-sided tape that I found. This one's not Stampin' Up, so shh, don't tell. But you know when you're cleaning out your craft room and you come across a whole stash of things that you didn't realize you had, and I don't want to waste it. So I will say our tape is better. This isn't as sticky, but it'll do for what I need it to today. And that's okay. We are getting ready to, I have a studio downstairs on my main floor that I teach my card classes in. Those are twice a month on the second Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a specialty class usually. But Nathan and I are planning to renovate that area in a few phases, but we're starting with flooring, paint, and lights, which is going to be amazing over the Christmas break. So I have my last class this coming Friday, and then we're ripping out the carpet. I bought all the flooring and I'm so excited, but I'm not a very good design person. So if somebody lives in Edmonton and is like, I love design, I might get you to comment, and I'll call you in like February when I'm ready to start decorating. Just not very good. I can match papers. I can't match decor. Alrighty, here we go. There's our base for now. We will set this aside because we need to do a little bit of die cutting and then embossing. I love embossing. Okay, so put this to the side. We're going to bring in our stylish shapes dies. So unfortunately, you still do want to have the cut and emboss machine, but we do have a really large circle punch and banner punches, so you could use those in lieu of this. But I've got the largest of the circles in that set and the largest of the banners in that set. And we're going to use these two pieces for our deer and our sentiment for the card. Now, one of my favorite trios of, well, there are only 2 trios of embossing powders. One is clear, white, and black. That one, I wish I could buy the white and black separate because I don't use clear fast enough, which gives me a challenge. I think for the new year, I need to start using my clear embossing folder or powder. So you guys can hold me to that. Here's my favorite one. This one comes with gold, copper, and silver. Now you'll have to excuse my really, really old labels and even the word retired on the top, because these containers are twice the height of the ones that Stampin' Up sells. So I use this and I'm able to fit a whole pack plus any extras that I have from a jar into these taller ones. I do think that our newest set of embossing powders that Stampin' Up has in their annual catalog, I think they have the same jars as this, same size, but don't quote me on that because I haven't purchased them yet. All right, I've got my little mama deer and baby deer. That's all mounted up. And my sentiment of choice, I have the may all your days be full of cheer. But remember, you can sub this out for anything else if you don't own that. It's okay. And then you have to make a choice. You have to choose whether you're going to use copper, silver, or gold embossing powder on your projects. You can see they all look stunning. They're all going to look pretty, but I think we have to decide which one actually suits the shaded spruce the most. I'm going to go with gold. I think that combination will be the best. Okay. Moving things out of my way. All right, here we go. I've got my embossing buddy. I'm going to just rub a little bit of that powder onto my paper. That picks up any oils that are kind of sitting there and helps my embossing powder stick only where I want it to. Got my Versamark, my nice sticky ink, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And then my deer. You can do these both, but you do have to keep working. I couldn't just leave this on the table. The deer's tail, just so you know, does kind of come off the page, and the leg, but don't worry about it. It still looks adorable. You get the gist of it. All right, always cover your inks so you don't put your hand in them. And then we're going to grab a little tweezers and the gold embossing powder with my tray. Keep forgetting you can't see the side of my table. There we go. Now, I always keep this kind of clenched for a minute. I guess I need the R still. Because if you turn this over and just lightly tap, flicking, then you're going to get anything that's kind of stuck on there off. Now, usually I would take this straight to the heat tool, but I need to emboss my deer before they dry. So I'm also going to put the powder on there. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm all ready. Now I'm going to grab my heat tool. You won't be able to hear me while it's going, so I'm just going to tell you ahead of time what you're going to look for. You're going to look for a change from this powdery look to something very shiny. Do we see the difference? So as soon as a section starts getting shiny, you can move the tool on. You can keep going. You don't want to stay on that spot, otherwise you can start burning your paper. But you want to make sure that there is no section that looks dull on here. The worst thing you can do is to leave a section, because as soon as you touch it, it's going to brush off. Okay, so make sure it's shiny. If you're worried you're in a different room and there's not great lighting, you can always just take it up to the light and kind of twist it around, see if it catches the glow. But we're gonna heat that up. Just gonna pause there for a sec. You see I've done half of it now. I've done the mama's antlers and the baby, but the back, like the hind of the deer, still is not shiny. So I have to keep going. That looks pretty good. Nice and shiny all the way. All right, grabbing our little sentiment. This one's trickier. You can kind of only hold it on an edge here. There we go, shiny all over. Good to go. All right, let me just move my embossing powder over so I don't bump it. There we go. Oh, I did mention, I guess I could have embossed something on this. I'll do that later. The mama deer would look really cute, or if you come back here, this little tree. I actually think that tree would look rather sharp if you embossed it or even stamped it on the inside of your card there. But I can add that detail later. Okay, these tags we are going to pop up on dimensionals. That's going to make them stand out from your project, and it should make it really, really fun to have as a contrast between the background and your decal. We're using the same colors, so it's sometimes easy to think it'll just blend in, but because we've embossed this back piece and only heat embossed this front, they look like two different patterns. Now, whenever I'm doing two different decals, I always like to just rest them on the card, make sure there's enough space and that I'm happy with them. Then I take the backings off and I go ahead and attach things. One. And there's two. You can see I do have a little embossing powder hanging around, so I can first try to brush it. It does seem stuck, so I'll just grab an eraser. I don't know if I have one here. I'll grab an eraser when I'm done and just rub that off a little bit. It's not a big deal. Piece for the inside, I'm gonna pop that in. Well, there is a version with shaded spruce, a version with granny apple green, a version with cherry cobbler, and a version with pool party, all using the same layout for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little project. I do really appreciate if you click the like button or even consider subscribing to my channel. Your support means a lot, and it means that I can do more of these for you because I know what you're interested in and what you like. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to tune in next Tuesday for another edition of Show Me How It's Done, and happy Christmas planning. See you later. Bye.